What if I told you there's a place where the walls whisper tales of anguish, where the echoes of lost souls still linger, and where history's shadows cling like a cold shiver down your spine? Welcome to the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, a place where fact and fear collide, and the truth is often stranger than fiction. Why did this sprawling asylum, once a beacon of hope for the mentally ill, become a house of horrors? What happened within these walls to leave behind such a chilling legacy? And most importantly, what draws paranormal investigators and curious thrill seekers alike to this abandoned fortress of fear? Today, we're diving deep into the history and hauntings of one of America's most notorious mental institutions. But this isn't just a story about ghosts. It's about the people who lived, suffered, and, some say, never left.
In the mid-19th century, as America was expanding westward, so too was its understanding of mental health. It was a time when the mentally ill were often locked away in prisons, treated more like criminals than patients. But in 1858, the state of Virginia embarked on an ambitious project to change that, a sprawling state-of-the-art mental hospital designed to treat patients with dignity and care. This would become the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, which is located in a small town called Weston in West Virginia. Built on 666 acres of land, yes, you heard that right, the asylum was the brainchild of renowned architect Richard Andrews. He designed it in the Gothic Revival style. Now, the building was massive. It was originally intended to house about 250 patients in a peaceful, serene surrounding. But as with many grand visions, reality quickly diverged from the plan. Now imagine this, living in the 19th century with a mental illness. Now, as someone with autistic spectrum disorder, I really can't imagine living in that time with, autistic spectrum disorder, because back then you just simply weren't understood. You weren't cared for in the way that you needed. And the world back then was definitely really confusing and often quite a frightening place, as you'd imagine. And the asylum was supposed to be a sanctuary for those people. But for many of them, it actually became a place of nightmares. But the asylum's promising start was short-lived. As the years went on, things began to spiral out of control really quickly. The population of the asylum grew far beyond its intended capacity of 250. By the 1950s, the facility was housing over 2,400 patients. Now, that's crazy because that's nearly 10 times the number it was actually designed for. As you would imagine, conditions deteriorated rapidly. Patients who needed treatment and compassion were actually subjected to overcrowded rooms, lack of proper sanitation, and at times extreme measures like lobotomies and electroshock therapy were a daily occurrence in there. The very walls that were actually meant to protect and heal those people became witnesses to unspeakable suffering. Now, I think about this place, and when I've been doing my research, I was thinking of a really, really good analogy, and the only analogy I can really come up with is think of this as almost like a pressure cooker. Too much stress, too many people, and not enough release. The asylum was literally bursting at the seams, and the result was catastrophic. Staff were overwhelmed, and the patients just left to fend for themselves in a world that had literally just forgotten them. Now, many of the patients, I think we've got to remember here, probably most of those patients, they were never violent, they were never dangerous, they were just simply misunderstood in that time. And yet, they lived in conditions that would break anyone's spirit. And it's no wonder that many of those souls seem to be trapped there, literally unable to find peace. Now, let's get into what draws so many to the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum today. Its reputation is one of the most haunted places in America. The asylum's dark history has given rise to countless tales of hauntings. Visitors and paranormal investigators, they've all reported hearing disembodied voices, seeing shadowy figures, and feeling an overwhelming sense of dread in certain parts of the building. But who or what is haunting the place? One of the most famous spirits said to reside there is that of Lily. Lily was a little girl who was in the asylum for a period of time, and she is supposedly, she died in the asylum. Now, there's countless reports out there where Lily has been seen and heard giggling and playing with her toys that have been left in her room. There's also the story of Ruth. I've literally just got a shiver down my back then. That just went straight through me, that little sentence there. Then there's a story of Ruth, a patient who hated men, like absolutely despised men. And Ruth is said to still lash out at male visitors today, physically, audibly as well, which is pretty scary. But perhaps the most chilling of all is the apparition known as the Creeper. They call it the Creeper. And basically what the Creeper is it's a dark, twisted figure. And this thing sounds awful. This thing is supposed to see it crawl along the floors and up the walls and the ceilings. And basically anyone who's come across this thing has been absolutely terrified. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this for real, right? Or, as always, when we go through our videos, is it just the power of suggestion? And that's a fair question. Again, it's a fair question. But like we've mentioned, when you hear the same stories from so many different people, and again, these people are, they're intelligent, they come from all walks of life, different backgrounds, it's hard not to wonder if there's something more going on here. Some skeptics suggest that the phenomena could be attributed to the building's age. So again, this kind of power of suggestion where you've got creaking floors, drafty corridors making sounds, eerie acoustics of the empty halls. They can all play tricks on your mind. We all know that. We're all aware of that. But whether you're a believer or a skeptic, there's just something that hangs over this place. There's a heavy atmosphere, and even again, doing my research and going through this video, it's making me feel a little bit, a bit tingly. It's a little bit strange. So what is it like to visit the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum today? Well, I wouldn't imagine it's for the faint of heart, that's for sure. The asylum is now a popular destination for ghost tours, paranormal investigations, and even history buffs. You can go there and walk along the same halls and walk the corridors and go in the rooms where the patients once roamed. You can see the treatment rooms where controversial procedures were performed on a daily basis, which is a little bit unnerving to think about that. And I guess when you're there, you'll probably instantly feel the weight of the asylum's tragic past as you're walking around. There's just something about the place that gets under your skin, I guess. And whether it is the history, the hauntings, or probably just the oppressive silence when you're in there, it's probably an experience you won't soon forget. But beyond the thrill of the ghost hunt, visiting the asylum would be a sobering reminder of how far we've come as a civilization and how far we also still have to go, especially when it comes to understanding and treating mental illnesses. And the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum stands out to me as both a monument for progress, but also a very stark warning of the past. Now, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum is a place where history and hauntings are intertwined, where the past refuses to stay buried. It's a site that challenges us to confront the darkest corners of our own humanity, both in how we treat the most vulnerable among us, but also in our fascination of the unknown. So, the next time you hear a ghost story, or see a shadow out the corner of your eye, remember this. Sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that actually happened. And if you're ever in West Virginia, you might just want to pay a visit to the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, if you dare, that is. Now, look, if you enjoyed this journey into the eerie past of the Trans-Allegheny Asylum, then don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button. Please stay tuned for more adventures into the unknown. We've got coming in other videos. Hand on heart, thank you for joining me on the video. I really do appreciate you visiting the channel and for every minute and every second that you watch my videos. Thank you very much, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you all very, very soon.